All right. I'm really excited for tonight. We have a guest that we haven't had on in, I don't know, probably like 3-4 months?
At least, maybe longer.
At least, he says. I should probably turn on his microphone so we can say something. How's it going, Phil?
Real good.
This
Thank
is
you.
Phil Elkins. He's had a lot of books on. I think we've probably talked about at least 3 of your books, I know.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Okay. First off, tell us the series of books that you've written so far, what you're working on, where we can find them.
Okay, thank you. Well, the first book I wrote was called Running from the Fire, about growing up in East L.A., and surviving that only to get drafted and be sent to Vietnam as a medic, and then coming home and dealing with probably 30 years of people not appreciating or
not understanding it. I mean, appreciation is correct on that book, yeah.
There's a lot of disdain and contempt toward Vietnam veterans. So after 30 years of that, and then I wrote the second book was my year in Vietnam. And then the third one was coming home from the war in Vietnam, which is about what I was talking about, how I had to readjust to, World War II veterans came home and they were, treated with respect, but not Vietnam vets. As a matter of fact, even my girlfriend, she said, "Why do you have that Vietnam veteran sticker on your car?" So my girlfriend recently bought me a Vietnam veteran hat, and it's like, I felt a little uncomfortable wearing it, but people are always saying, "Thank you for your service." It's like, okay, wow.
Times have changed. Yeah.
Anyway, and then the fourth book is called Shadow Man, which is dealing with PTSD. And then the book that I just released is called Time to Myself. It's about hitchhiking from Northern California down to Acapulco, Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And getting, all the different experiences in hitchhiking stories. And then the one I think I'm going to read tonight is I went through a divorce and had 3 children. And I wanted to have my children half-time. And, of course, the mother of my kids wasn't too cooperative about that. But I had to take her to court, and the judge said, "Phil's been there since the beginning, and he gets him half-time legally and physically." And so I wrote this book called Daniela, Selena, and Issac at Daddy's House. Oh, okay. And that's what this book is. And this is actually 2 stories in one. But the first one's about my daughters.
Well, before we read those, where can we find your books?
Thank you.
Yeah.
They're available at Amazon.com under the name Phillip I. Elkins. And a lot of people know me as Senor Felipe because I've been doing a show here for over 30 years. But my name legally is Phillip I. Elkins. And so they are available on Amazon at paperback as well as Kindle. And Amazon.com, just type in either, Phillip I. Elkins, and my book should come up.
Yeah. And then I'm actually curious, sorry, before you keep jumping in.
No, go ahead.
Don't mean to interrupt. So this book was written after your first 4 books? When did this one come out?
Yeah, this was probably the 5th book.
5th book, okay,
right,
cool.
Right.
Just for my own timeline, I was trying to track it.
Right.
Oh, I'm so excited. We've read a bunch of the other books, which is really a personal history of your time going through war, and a bunch of, how that looked for you. Mm-hmm. This one I'm actually really excited to see. I think it's a different flavor of how you've been putting out.
Completely different. It's about raising my 2 daughters, and when me and their mother broke up, they were probably 2 and 3 years old. Mm-hmm. And so I had to learn about how to take care of little kids and try to have a personal life as well, which is a challenge.
And the picture on the front is beautiful, you and your children. I love it.
Thank you.
You haven't changed a day. It was the exact same.
Right. That's my 3 children. And I didn't use their real names.
Good. That's a safety thing.
Their middle names. And so Daniela, Selena, and Issac at Daddy's House. And Daniela and her sister Selena were playing and dancing in the leaves that had fallen from the big trees in the backyard. Of course, they only go with their first names shortened, sometimes Danny and Lena. And Danny and Lena live half-time at their father's house and half-time with their mother, switching back and forth every 2 weeks. That seems to work out best. They also happen to be half Irish Catholic and half Ukrainian Jewish. Danny and Lena were looking at the most red and purple maple leaves that had the perfect size and shape. So they were adding them to their stacks, laying by the puddles of water from the last night's rain. "Look at this one," Lena said. Danny took a glance and yelled back, "Wow, I found the perfect one. This must be the mother of all best leaves in the whole wide world." Lena didn't even look up. She had work to do. She had leaves to find. It was cold outside. They felt the misty fog droplets falling on their faces. The sisters could even see them traveling through the air, mixed with smoke from the neighbor's fireplace. They watched the smoke rise skyward up to the overcast day. "I like the way it smells today," Lena said. Danny paid little attention to her younger sister. "Keep an eye on your sister, Daddy," Danny's dad said as they were outside in their explorations. "Okay, Dad," Danny said. But she really wished Lena couldn't go with her. She always was there. She always had to be in the way, always taking up time and annoying her. "I wish you weren't my sister," Danny yelled at Lena whenever Lena got in her way. "I wish I didn't have to live with you. I wish you lived at Mom's house all the time." Sometimes she even yelled, "I hate you," or worse. Lena didn't like hearing Danny say those things. She had put up with it for her entire 8 years. But she was used to it, and she knew how to take care of herself. "It was an accident," Lena said when Danny returned her kick under the table. Their father never really knew who started it. He only wished it wouldn't happen 10 times a day, but he didn't really know what to do about it. Turning over leaves revealed all sorts of exciting things. Earthworms crawling in and out of little holes, centipedes and slugs leaving sticky slime tracks that don't come out after you touch them. And best of all, snails can be used as marbles if you find enough of them. Danny picked up a giant snail and dropped it down Lena's back. Lena howled, picked up another snail and smashed it on Danny's head. Danny got mad, picked up another snail and tried to force it into Lena's mouth. Lena kept her mouth shut with all her might. "I'm going to make you eat this dirty, rotten, slimy snail and make you die." Lena cried and ran into the house. She hoped Daddy would save her. Unfortunately, he was too busy to pay much attention. He said, "I'm glad you girls are having fun, honey." Lena thought to herself, "This is not fun. Danny forcing me to eat a snail almost killed me. I think Daddy's not too smart." Lena went back outside and said, "Danny is going to make you eat snails for breakfast, but he said he'll cook them up just real nice for you." Then Lena picked up a reddish-brown yellow leaf and stacked it on her pile. Danny made a mud patty, big and fat and gooey. She dropped it on top of Lena's pile. It smashed down all of Lena's really nicely stacked leaves and landed on Lena's purple shoes where it stuck. Lena didn't like that at all. She picked up a bunch of mud, pushed it into Danny's face, ground it into her mouth, and she smashed another handful into Danny's hair. Her big sister took 2 handfuls of sloppy mud and grabbed Lena's leaves, smashed it all up together, and pushed it against Lena's face and ears and head and down her blouse. Soon the girls were fighting, wrestling, pushing and pulling and yelling and spitting mud at each other. Danny came out the door demanding, "All right, girls, what kind of playing is this?" "She started it," Danny said. "No, I didn't. She started it," Lena insisted as she pointed her finger to Danny's face. "I don't care who started it. Just go inside and clean up." "But Danny, Daddy, Danny put mud on my leaves and it fell into my purple shoes. See? You put mud in my mouth, you dummy," yelled Danny. "I don't care how you girls are playing and having fun. Just clean up, get ready for breakfast." "Do I have to eat snails, Daddy?" "What?" Daddy said. Lena said, "I have to eat snails. They're gross." "Well, what would you rather eat? Worms?" Daddy said, laughing. "No, Daddy, we don't want to eat worms either. We want pancakes and waffles." "Can I put snails and worms in them?" "No, Daddy, they're dirty and slimy," insisted Danny. "Boy, you girls are particular. Go take a bath and I'll make you some tasty breakfast for breakfast." Daddy made pancakes, and they looked different. They had big chunks and clumps of smashed up weird things in them. The girls were worried. Good, Daddy said. The girls panicked when Daddy said they were cut up worms, snails, and bugs. We can't eat this, Daddy, Danny complained. This is poison. Lena agreed. Do I have to eat this too, Daddy? Danny, she's the one who made trouble. She started it. She should have to eat it all by herself. What's wrong with bugs, Daddy said. They're no different than hamburger, only it's free. Doesn't it smell good? But Daddy, both girls cried. Finally, Daddy told them it was only oatmeal and apples and raisins, and the girls weren't convinced. And they inspected it up close. They saw it really was not worms and snails and bugs. They felt very relieved. After breakfast, Daddy said he had some deliveries to make as part of his jobs, and he'd be back soon as possible. Then he added, "You girls go play some more if you don't fight. Then, if you stick together, you can ride down to the corner market and get something, or you could do your homework instead, whichever you choose. And maybe if you like to help me with the laundry, you can fold some of the laundry clothes I got stacked up on the bed." The girls looked at each other and started playing with the stack of laundry. Danny wanted to ride her bike to the market to buy some candy. Lena wanted to play some more in the backyard. "You always get to choose. It's my time to choose," Lena said. Danny pushed Lena into the clothes hamper, and they started fighting until the hamper fell over, and Lena hit the floor hard and started crying. "Ooh, that's what you get for being such a brat," Danny said. But she noticed Lena holding a tooth that had been knocked out, and Daddy came in and asked what happened. "I helped Lena get her tooth look. See? No fighting, Daddy said. Make a decision together and do what you both want to do together again." Daddy teased. I'll know how much you like doing things together. If you get along and don't fight, when I get back, I'll take you to the movies tonight to see Aladdin or Lion King. Daddy left to make his delivery. Danny said, "First we go to the store. Then, if we have time left, we could play some more outside with you and your stupid leaves." Lena felt cheated as usual. "Why don't we play first and then go to your stupid store when we have time left? Because I'm the oldest, so I'm the boss." And Daddy said, when Daddy's not here, "I don't remember Daddy saying you're the boss." "Well, he didn't say you were either, and I'm older than you are, so I'm 10 years old. You're only 8. You're still a baby." "I'm not a baby. I'm almost as big as you," Lena shouted. "If I'm a baby, then you're a baby too." She stood up next to Danny to show she's almost as tall as Danny. "I'm 10 years old. I'm in the 5th grade. You're only 4th grade. Still a baby." Lena felt like hitting Danny, but she remembered what Daddy said. "Movies tonight if we don't fight." So she hung her head and said, "Okay, first we go to the store to get your stupid candy, but you better buy me some too, and we're better have some time to play in the backyard when we get back. I don't want to go a long way and have to visit your stupid girlfriend, Orion, and listen to you guys talk about how cute you think Brian and Ryan are. I might have some money for you to buy something too," Danny said, "but only if you don't make trouble and you shut up once we get to Orion's house." "I don't want to go to Orion's house. I hate it there. All you do is talk about stupid boys. It's boring." "We're going. Get your bike," Danny said. And she jumped on her bike, and the girls rode down the street to the corner market. At first, Danny ignored Lena's request for money she had offered, but soon she realized she had no choice, and she gave Lena 25 cents out of her pocket money. Danny bought several candies and stuffed her pockets full for her friends. However, Lena bought only some gum and started chewing it right away. The house was empty. Lena's bike was not in the yard. Well, I skipped a page, huh? They rode to Orion's house, knocked on the door. Orion let them in and asked Danny, "Why'd you bring her?" Pointing at Lena. "Had to," Danny said. Soon Danny and Orion were deep into discussing boys. Lena was more than ready to go home and play as Danny promised. After 10 minutes, Lena let Danny know she was ready to go. Danny ignored her. Lena said, 5 minutes later, I want to go back now. Shut up, Danny said. Another 5 minutes passed. And Lena said, if you don't go now, I'm leaving by myself. You don't know the way home. And besides, Danny said to stick together. Daddy said to stick together. He said to stick together, but nothing about coming here, Lena said. I'm leaving by myself. If you don't go now, you two are boy crazy. It's boring and stupid. Come on, go. Go home. Let's see if you know the way home. I bet you get lost. Lena got up slowly and went to the door, hoping Danny was behind her. Danny wasn't. Lena opened the door, turned around and said, I'm leaving now. You better come too, Danny. Danny and Orion went back to talking about their favorite subjects, Ryan and Brian. After several minutes, Danny got a sudden sense of worry about Lena. I better go find my bratty sister. She might get lost and I'll be in trouble. Danny wasn't thinking about what it would really be like to lose her sister, only the trouble she would be if Lena was not there when Daddy returned. Danny rode home fast. She was ready to get mad at Lena and tell her she wasn't going to play with her after all. Instead, Daddy swung the door wide open and yelled, You stupid brat, I had to leave early because I have to watch you baby. Her words echoed in the empty house. She repeated them louder, but this time with a little concern in her voice. Lena, I'm not playing. You better answer me. I'm mad at you. Still no answer. Lena, where are you? She screamed as she ran into Lena's room looking and suddenly realized that she could indeed maybe be in big trouble. The house was empty. Lena's bike was not in the yard. Chills ran down Danny's back as she realized what she'd done and what serious trouble she would be in. First twitch of concern for Lena hit her at the same time. Uh-oh, Lena might be lost and need me, her big sister, she said aloud to herself. Maybe someone hurt or stole her. I'd better find her fast. Danny jumped onto her bike, rode back to Orion's house, ran inside and yelled for Orion. Have you seen Lena? She left before you did, were the chilling words Danny heard. Oh no, now what do I do? She asked Orion. I'll help you find her, Orion said. And they both jumped onto their bikes and rode hard and fast toward the creek 2 blocks away. They turned down all the nearby streets yelling, Lena, 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 no answer. By this time, Danny was panicking. Wild thoughts and fears were shooting through her head. Thoughts of genuine concern about her little sister. What if she is lost? What if she's hurt? What if somebody kidnapped her? What would I do if I wasn't somebody's big sister anymore? Lena, Lena, no answer. Danny heard a car horn blowing loudly at her. She wasn't looking where she was going while hollering for Lena. Stay out of the street, you stupid kid. The angry driver yelled at Danny. Danny felt small and stupid and embarrassed. She thought that must be how Lena feels when Danny yells mean things at her. Oh no, I'm never going to find Lena again. No, that's how I treated her before she disappeared. Oh, please, please, let me find her. She pleaded to the sky above. Please, Lena, be all right. Let me find my little sister. Who needs me to protect her and help her grow up and be all right? I'll treat her all right now. I promise. I'll treat her good. Please, please, please. Danny was crying now, and she was very worried about Lena and not just about getting into trouble. She didn't look forward to that, but what about how worried Daddy was going to be? And what about her mother and all her friends and relatives? How could she ever face them again? She imagined her Daddy saying, You know my daughter, Danny. She's the one who lost Lena back when I had 2 daughters. Nobody ever knows whatever happened to Lena. She just disappeared that day, and Danny didn't leave Orion's house when she promised. After giving Lena's only 25 cents for gum, Lena, Lena, Lena. How are we doing with time?
Oh, we're okay. We can do a couple more minutes.
Okay, because it's not too much longer.
Save some questions, because I have questions for you. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Read, I'd say, one more page.
Okay. Only passing cars made sound back. Orion said, maybe she should tell Orion's dad or her older brother where Lena got lost. Maybe we better call the police. Danny almost fell off her bike at that suggestion. The police? What, we have to go to jail because I lost Lena? Orion rode down the block calling Lena's name. Danny! Rode down another street yelling, Lena, Lena, Lena. Danny rode to yell and yelled until her voice got hoarse. She began to cry and scream as tears ran down her mouth. She looked around and didn't know where she was. Nothing looked familiar. She didn't recognize the street name any longer. She was lost now too. Now what, she thought? 2 lost girls. Oh no, both of us are lost. She got off her bike and sat down and cried, held her hand in her head. She felt like a baby. Oh no, I'm a baby too. I'm a lost little baby. First I lost Lena, now I'm lost.
We'll leave it there because then people will have to get the book to figure out the story. Sorry, everyone. I'm leaving you on a cliffhanger. I'm hoping maybe you can give us this, Phil. Is it a happy ending?
Yeah. Okay, so what happens is she's crying in the street, and then she hears Lena crying.
Oh, no.
And Lena's in the creek, and they find each other, and suddenly they're so happy to see each other. And they act like they weren't scared, and they act like they weren't crying, and they hugged each other, and they decided, okay, I guess I need you and you need me and I love you, and they're going to go to the movies tonight. But, they couldn't really agree on one movie. And then Daddy said, well, you want to invite Orion? And Danny looked at Lena, and Lena said, no, just us. And so they went to see those movies, Aladdin.
That's a memory they have too? Do they remember this? Or not as much? I mean, embellishment too.
Well, okay, sure. I'll tell you a little bit. Okay, they were only 14 months apart.
Okay.
And so... it's sibling rivalry. And I remember telling them, one of these days you girls are going to be closer than any other people in the world. And they said, oh, God, never happened in a million years. But now that they're grown up, and they say, Dad, you were right. And they're probably closer they're like twins, and
cool.
And they're very happy and they're healthy. And Nancy over there, she always says to me, you did a terrific job with those girls. They're so wonderful and happy and everything. So anyway, that's the first half of the book. The second half is about my son, because I had him half time as well. But he was a different mother.
We'll have to do a different show for that side of it.
Sure.
Have any of your kids seen this book at all or read or reviewed any? I'm really curious.
I'll tell you the truth. I wrote this before I even had a computer. I went over to my buddy's house. He had a computer. And I sat at it and I wrote it in one sitting.
Wow.
And I haven't really looked at it, but I thought, okay, I'll publish it. And then I gave a copy to my daughter. My daughters, and the older one, she says, Dad, you make me sound like a bully. And the younger one says, well, you were.
For that period of time, and for this story, for sure.
Now they're very close and very happy. But anyway, those books, all of them are available at Amazon.com under the name Phillip I. Elkins.
Phillip I. Elkins. I'm glad they had a chance to look at it, though. That's pretty nice. That's a beautiful little story of some coming-of-age stuff right there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And the one about my son is also the other half of the book, and it's him and his best friend, and now they also, a coming-of-age story, and they decided, well, Dad used to go hitchhiking. Let's go hitchhiking.
Oh, no. At what age? What age did they decide that?
Teenagers. And they kind of got lost and stuff, and they had to call up their dad, me, and I had to go pick them up in Quincy. They jumped a freight train first, because my father used to jump the freight train, and they were going to hitchhike back home, but they couldn't get a ride.
Oh, man.
That's the second half of the story.
What age was he in? Sorry.
A teenager. They were, 13, 14. Because all the stories they heard that I told them. And, I remember one time, my daughter said, hey, Dad. They were in kindergarten. No, not kindergarten, grammar school. When they call it elementary school now, I'm not. Nancy tells me. And he said, hey, wear your uniform to school for me, And, that's back when they were little kids. And I never did that. But, that was in the time when people didn't really respect Vietnam vets.
Yeah. That was, at least from what I've heard, for those of you who have heard his other shows, you'll be able to kind of track this. If not, I don't know what episodes, but you can find them in our KZFR archives. Probably not the archives. Those only stay for a few weeks.
Right.
But I do have Right On Air YouTube that you should be able to find his old shows. I'm pretty sure I have all those uploaded.
Is that right?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
I'm pretty sure. You'll have to hunt around for your name in there, but you can look through each video. I think I have like 86 videos or something in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I also have a website.
Oh, yeah. What's your website?
Senor Felipe Weebly.com, and you can see all my books there, and also Amazon.com. All my books are there. You can look at them there.
Yes, please find them for sure.
Right.
So for me, when I was at least hearing you read this, it was a different tone. It was like a different Phil writing this book. It was beautiful. I mean, it's a totally different side of you.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe my kids are all grown up now, and the childhood seemed to take so long. It was a lot of work with a single dad, and I had him half time. Their mother had him half time, but it took a few days to get into it, and then when they went to their moms, take a few days to get out of it. So it's constantly adjusting.
That's what I've heard from a few people who have are in a single parent situation where they're rotating time between kids is the adjustment period. You get them there, it takes a couple days to kind of feel like you're adjusted, and they leave, and you're like, what?
No,
all right.
Now I got free time, but it takes a while to figure out what you want to do. But I really appreciate you do a terrific job.
Thanks.
Really. And now you're working at least part-time at KZFR.
Yes, I am. Thanks very much for everyone here. I just got on board, I think, like 2 weeks ago. I couldn't be more grateful. Anything I can do to help the station grow is fun. I mean, I get to do it as a programming position and now as a staff member too. So whatever I can do to support more of this, because this is fun.
And we're lucky to have you.
Thanks.
You do a terrific job. You're a terrific young man.
Appreciate it. Well, we'll end on some writing questions here.
Okay.
So for your other books, I think we talked about how the writing was a bit kind of cathartic. It was almost healing for you.
Absolutely was therapy. Yeah, absolutely. No, what happened was when I was in Vietnam, you want to get letters. So to get letters, you got to write letters. And people liked them. So they would write me back. And then they wanted to see them and read them. And then, I decided, I'll start doing poetry readings and put them into poems. And I even wrote some songs with those stories. And then my brother Bob, he's my oldest brother. I got 3 older brothers. The oldest is 10 years older. We were very close. He said, let's write a book together, because we grew up in the same household, same parents, completely different experiences. And so we write a book together, and at the end of the book, we tie it together. So I wrote 2-3 chapters. And I said, where's yours? He looks at me and says, he don't like writing.
Of course.
But I kept writing anyway.
Yeah, he baited you in that one for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so am I. Yeah. So am I. And it's like I say, it's been good therapy. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I got a call from a professor in Orland at the high school, and he wants me to go talk there about writing.
Wow.
And so that's tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, I think he said, bring some of your books and stuff. And, so it's going to be fun. I appreciate it. It's just amazing how it all kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's good therapy.
Yeah, take a note from Phil, too. He's been working on it for years. He wrote about things that he knew and understood, his own life experiences. And you never know where writing is going to take you or where it can connect you. I mean, you probably wouldn't have imagined you'd be speaking in front of audiences
never
about how to write. That's
never in a million years.
Such a cool experience. Well, if you want to be part of the show, we're at the tail end. Sorry, Phil, I'm going to have to cut us off.
Go ahead.
If you want to be part of the show and would like to submit or talk to me about anything show-related, you can do so by emailing us at write.onair@gmail.com, write.onair@gmail.com. We usually have a lot of open shows here and there, so if you kind of talk to me, we can work you in. Any level of writing experience is welcome. As I say, we're here to celebrate the art form of writing, so come do that. It's a blast. I think Phil has some fun when he comes on here.
I love it. I love it. And you do a terrific job.
Well, thanks. No pressure, and there's no audience that we can see, so that's always the fun part of it.
No. That's the thing about being radio. People think, but after a while, you're just talking to each other.
Yeah, and then one more time before we go, where can we find your stuff?
Amazon.com under the name of Phillip Elkins.
Please do catch some of his stuff. He's got some good work here. All right. Well, today, yes, thanks, Phil.
Thank you so much. You're terrific.
Didn't mean to cut you off there. It's a blast having you on here. We will definitely have another show with him on, too, so
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, brother.